Hi,
Recording.
everybody. Welcome to JJSports podcast, video, whatever. I'm Joey B.
I'm Josh K.
I'm Sammy.
We can tell you a little bit about ourselves before we get into our topics today. I'm from Great Neck, New York. I'm 21 years old, and I'm currently attending on Zoom classes at the university known as Queens College.
I'm Josh K. I live in Queens, New York, and I am currently a freshman at Touro College.
As you know, I'm Sammy. I am 20 years old. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I'm currently enrolled as a freshman in Montgomery College.
Okay, boys. Now that's all the way with the chit chat. Let's get into our first topic. We're talking about the NBA and all the news going on today. Biggest, of course, our NBA Finals preview, as the NBA Finals are tonight. We got representing the West, the Los Angeles Lakers, and representing the East, we got the Miami Heat. So I'm going to bring it up to my boys. Are you surprised by these two in the NBA Finals? One of you chime in. I guess we'll do Josh and Sammy, unless – okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers seem to have a team to go all the way. They brought in guys like LeBron over the last few years, guys like Anthony Davis, I'm sure Dwight Howard as well. And those three right there, you know, it are three players that any NBA team would want to have in their starting lineup one way or another. The way those guys play, and clearly, you know, if people are going to say it's a little too much size, you know, they like to space it out a little bit more, is that, you know, they've clearly gotten to the point where they've brought this team to have the potential to win a championship. Last year, the Lakers, we know, after signing LeBron, that big acquisition to that massive contract of, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was like $150 million plus, maybe a little less. Yeah, it was, you know, they thought that they had it right away, and, you know, they fell short, not even making the playoffs. And this year they turned it around, and they've proven that, you know, he has made a massive impact on that team. He's gotten them to the finals right now. So I'm not surprised to see them there, but I think the bigger shock is really to see the Miami Heat there. They were the 5th seed, knocking out the 4 seed, not a major surprise. You know, that's the most competitive matchup between the teams with home court advantage and non-home court advantage, even though we're in the bubble, we'll disregard that. But aside from that, they knock out the Indiana Pacers. Then they get, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember who they got in the second round. Someone could correct me or fill me in on that.
Toronto, I think.
Toronto in 5
Oh,
games.
Toronto! No. Toronto was the Celtics played Toronto. They got Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Yeah, they eliminated Milwaukee. Yeah.
Milwaukee in 5 games, and then knocking out the Celtics in 6. I mean, this is the 5th seed, and they've lost 3 games all postseason long. Game 1 being played tonight as we speak. Last I saw, I believe it was around halfway through the second quarter, they had a lead over the Lakers. And look, if they pull this thing off, I know that even though they've only lost 3 games this postseason, as well as Los Angeles, who've gone 4-1 in every postseason series so far, I think that we could be in for a very good series and possibly one of the biggest upsets we've seen, not in terms of numerical standings, but rather the players you see going against each other for their.
That's a great point, Josh. Sammy?
I am not surprised by this matchup at all. I predicted this at the very beginning of the playoffs. At first, I was a little bit unsure about the West because I had a feeling in me that if Kawhi Leonard took 2 teams to the championship, he'd take a third. But obviously that didn't happen. So that was wrong. But from the get-go, from the beginning of the playoffs, I was predicting the Heat to be in the finals because the Heat have a new big 3. Okay. Jimmy Butler, already good. We know how he played on the Sixers. We know how he played on the Bulls. We know how he played on the T-Wolves. Wasn't as good with the T-Wolves, but even so, it was great by everybody else's standards. Then we have Bam Adebayo, who has not only been on fire this postseason, in the latter half of the regular season, he was absolutely dominant. He all-star inductee, and to top it all off, rounding out is Tyler Harrow, I like to call him the baby face because he looks the most like a child out of the three of them, and also it's fun to say Bam Butler baby or whatever. The fact, and just looking from the way that they played other teams, against the Pacers, they completely dominated. Against the Bucks, wasn't even a contest because the Bucks right now, they're just Giannis and Chris Middleton. And the one game they won that entire series was without Giannis for some of the game because Giannis got injured in game number 3, number 4, something like that. But if Giannis was covering Jimmy, you had Bam. If he covers Bam, you got Harrow and Jimmy. It's a common, like, it's a very big issue of you can't guard me, but you can't guard us. And then of course with the Celtics, that was I would say that was the biggest toss-up series because the Celtics aren't a team to be trifled with either. I think if the matchups were switched around, as in Milwaukee and Boston versus and then Miami versus Toronto, even if they were switched around, I think we'd end up with the same result regardless. But the Heat's streak, I guess, the fiery streak that the Heat have been on for this entire playoffs, I think the momentum carried over into the finals where they are now. As for the Lakers, well, Kobe and Shaq too. I'm going to say that because Kobe and Shaq were unguardable when they were teammates, and LeBron and Anthony Davis are unstoppable. But, and this is a big one, I genuinely think that I think the Lakers will win this series. But
jumping the gun there.
I was jumping the gun. Sorry, I didn't say anything. I think this will be a tough series. Definitely a 6 or 7 game series. Tough series. As long as, first of all, Bam keeps up the same form that he had in the last 3 rounds, and second off, as long as at least two Lakers starters are shut down, like in theory, as long as LeBron and Davis are shut down, the rest is not smooth sailing, but it's a much smoother sailing than it is now.
Okay. Thank you, Sammy. So to wrap that all up, just what you both said, I really like the Dwight Howard angle. I find it very intriguing because I don't think anybody thought he could have a rebound to his career like this. He's playing – I guess he is what you would consider that third star of that team. He's been playing phenomenal in these playoffs, and I'm very happy to see him in this way.
Not a fan of that hair, though.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. But I'm just saying his play. I'm basing him on his play. Trust me, if we went by hair, I wouldn't like a lot of players. Okay, don't worry.
Davis wouldn't be there either.
A lot of people, yeah. Like
if we're basing it off of hair, the 3 players that I just mentioned.
Remember Alfred Payton?
The big 3 on the Heat have more hair than the entire Lakers team.
Yeah, whatever. We got it. We're not.
All right, moving on.
Thank you, John. So yeah, and then what you said is that I think is a very important point to how you know who you're gonna win. There are 3 types of teams. They're in terms of good teams. There are the teams that have 2 stars, but no bench. There are the teams that have a well-rounded teams, but no superstars. And then there are teams that have both, right? So Milwaukee is the first thing. I feel like Miami is not Miami. I don't know. I guess Denver's like maybe
Toronto.
Toronto's a perfect example. You're right. Yeah. Toronto's a perfect.
Kyle Lowry is a star,
no,
but
Siakam,
I don't think.
Right, but they're not stars, right? But then you look at LA and Denver, and they have both, right? So I'm not saying that's who's going to win or whatever, but I'm just saying like any of those can be very competitive. So it's very intriguing to see these matchups are very intriguing because Celtics is what I was thinking of because I think they also don't have a true star. Like I think Jason Tatum's great and Kemba's great, but yeah, like they have a very amazing all-around team.
Another thing I just want to chime in here. I do think that while they didn't make it this year, I genuinely think that the Celtics will have a deeper run and make the finals next year, particularly because of one thing. Gordon Hayward Brad Stevens. Gordon Hayward and Brad Stevens have Brad Stevens was Gordon Hayward's coach in Butler, both time and took Butler to the finals twice, to the national championship twice, and I feel like that chemistry and that chemistry definitely carried over into the NBA. And also, speaking of while we're on the topic of chemistry, that's the other thing about the big three of Butler, Bam, and Tyler Herro, that the three of them are like they're legit. They're borderline siblings. I read an article in Slam Magazine about the three of them, and they're very, very close. They have a very deep bond. They're always on the same wavelength, and that's what got them to the finals where they are now.
It's a great point, but I just want to remind everyone we have a certain amount of time for each thing, so let's not try to always chime in. It's okay, it's fine. It's our first thing, so it's fine. But let's try to just say everything what we have at the time and chime in a little, not too much. No offense.
Since we're on the, I guess
think
we're
of it
on
like
the
a
tail
debate.
end.
Like we're on a clock, and like we don't interrupt other person.
Yeah. But since I figure that since we're on the tail end of basketball
No, but I want
right
to finish.
now,
I want to wrap it up.
Yeah. I was about to say we should wrap it. We should start wrapping up and mention who we
Right,
think
so
is
I'm
gonna
just
win.
wrapping. I am wrapping up. Okay, so we're gonna do this really quickly, but let me just finish my point. I think it's very exciting because you're having two different types of team going against each other, and I thought that, I thought it was kind of a surprise Miami's in there, but not really because they're just a well-coached team and all-around team. But I really thought it was gonna be Lakers Celtics in a year like this. I really thought that'd be cool, but I'm not surprised, and I think both teams very much deserve to be here. And let's just finish this segment, okay? So really quick, guys, rapid fire. I'll say mine last. First, Josh and Sammy, just say really quickly who you think's gonna win and how many games. Finals MVP. Josh.
Yeah, if it has to be, I'm gonna have to say the Heat have this one. I think, like Sammy mentioned, they are riding momentum. I know the Lakers have taken less time in each of their series overall compared to the Heat, who have swept one, then taken only one loss and then taken two losses. So it's gotten a little bit tougher for them to win, I think, if that's a pattern that you'd agree with. While the Lakers just much more straightforward, finishing it off in 5 games each time. But I do think that he can pull this one out, and I feel like David's gonna beat Goliath. Sometimes it happened. It's happened in the past. I think this is a year we could see it, especially with everything crazy that's happened in this season with COVID and the bubble and everything. Finals MVP, I'm probably going to have to say Jimmy Butler, just because he's been through a lot of this type of play before.
And how many games?
I could see it in 6, I think.
Sammy?
So I want to go along the same lines as Josh in the sense that I want to say that the Heat are going to win. And actually, if I were to pick the Heat, I would actually go with Bam Adebayo, considering how much of a tear he's been on through this entire playoffs. I think he's going to carry that same power into the finals. But you got to consider this: the LA Lakers are, I guess, the big team in basketball, in the sense that if you're outside of the United States, if you don't live in the United States and you don't follow basketball, even if you don't know anything and you know jack about basketball, you know the Lakers, you know the Celtics, you know the big teams. I feel like I'm gonna say Lakers in 7 games not just because of skill. I do think that Anthony Davis is going to. I believe this is Anthony Davis's first time in the finals. I think he's going to want to make sure, make his presence known. He wants to make sure, that this is that this is a finals to remember. But also, I think ratings wise, there might be a little bit of ref ball involved in the series. If you think back to 2002 with the Kings and the Lakers, that was a very, very terrible Western Conference Finals. Everybody knew what happened then. So I feel like there's a small chance it might happen. I don't think it will. But yeah, Lakers in 7. Finals MVP will be Anthony Davis.
Okay, so we have to move on, but I'm going to just quickly say mine. So guys, just let me say it and we'll move on, okay? No problem.
Yeah, sorry for joining on.
No problem. Just I'm going to say it. Okay, really quick. Hot take. I actually do think it's going to be the Lakers, but I think it's going to be in 6 games. I don't think they're going to have to worry about the 7th game because I feel like Miami will definitely steal one, but I think the reason they'll win the 2nd game is just because they'll be down, not because of the steal. I think the steal will just be the unexpected thing. So they'll win 2, but only because one of them was very close. I feel like the other one's not going to be as close, but you know what I mean, right? Like one of them's going to be like because of like a crazy play, right? You know how we had OG's game winner and Lucas, like just unexpected. But the other one's going to be like they're going to have a 5 or 6 point lead, in my opinion. And the reason I think that is just because Miami's very talented, but you made a great point. If you're guarding LeBron and AD, you're fine. But I honestly don't have faith that Jimmy Butler can only defend one person at a time. I know other guys can play defense, but keep in mind, these are rookies. I know they're being playing great now, but the pressure is really on. Don't worry about this fun. The heat is on, okay? The heat is on. The heat. It's going to be very tough for them to guard both LeBron and AD, okay? And I don't remember if you can say quickly who you say your MVP was? Sammy?
I said mine was Davis.
Okay. And then so I think it's going to be in 5 games, Lakers, and I actually think
5 or 6.
Sorry, 6. Sorry, my bad. All right, and I really want to give it to LeBron because I really want to say that he's the first guy to win 3 championships with 3 different teams and win 3 Finals MVPs. But I gotta admit, man, he's really in this because of Davis, not just because of him, but mostly because of him. So I gotta give it to them just for those reasons alone. All right, guys, we are moving on to the next topic. We talking about baseball.
Baseball. Okay. Who's starting up with this one?
I guess I'll start because I'm not sure what we want to talk about, but I think we should talk about the 3 series because I'm a Yankees fan. I'll talk a little about Yankees. He's a White Sox fan. I'll talk about White Sox, and I guess Josh, you'll pick whoever you want. But I guess Twins.
Actually, you mind if I take this mantle from you for a second?
Yeah, fine. But let's decide with Josh. Do you want to talk about the Twins or someone else?
Yeah, I could address. I'll go for shorter series.
Stop. We're not doing that. We're not shaming anybody. Okay, Sammy, you go first if you want to start it off.
Okay, so before we start, I just want to point out that this is people are going to say that whoever wins this championship doesn't count. People are going to say that for all these championships, for all these sports, it's not going to count. Maybe not football. I don't know how that's going to work out, but there's something odd about all 4 major sports and how their playoffs are going to turn out. And especially in baseball, this has never been for the first time ever. There's 8 teams or actually I don't know about the first time ever, but there are 8 teams in the playoffs, which never happens ever. And the first series is a 3-game series between the teams.
No buys either.
No buys either. So
yeah, very
it's a
different.
huge.
So I don't know
if
you
game
could
changer.
Take it away, but it's different. You have to acknowledge the difference. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. So the difference is definitely there, but I would not say that whoever wins the championship, it doesn't count because a championship is a championship at the end of the day. Now then, we'll just get right into it. Let's talk about the games let's talk about the series that are already over. We've got the Rays advancing. We've got the Astros stunning the Twins.
Oh wait, Josh is talking about that. So we'll just talk about everyone else. We'll talk about
and I think that's all we have for advance for already over and done with first round series. Let me get your guys' thoughts on those series.
I'll go quickly because I want to give everyone time. So I'll just do quickly for those 2 because we're gonna talk about ours after. But the Rays, dude, what a dominant team! Holy crap! Got the pitching, got the hitting. Like the Blue Jays, I feel like are good, but their team is so young; they're not ready yet. That's all I gotta say about that. And then what was the other matchup? Don't tell me. I just want to remember. You said Houston and Minnesota. Well, we'll get into that, but yeah, it's Josh should talk about that because the other 2 are about us. So, but that's what I'll say about that. Josh, you want to talk about just Tampa first, and then you'll talk about your matchup.
Yeah. So just to start things off, before the season began, I had written down predictions, okay? My prediction in the end overall, though, was World Series champion Tampa Bay Rays. They have a team that's built for a season like this, a short season, because that's what you see from them normally every year. They always have an incredibly, incredibly hot start. They slow down a little bit over time in the middle, and then they start to play strong again towards the end. But it's really that first half of the season that really jumps out at you and says, wow, like if they could play like that all year, especially with the bare bones operations, and their salary cap situation and everything, they have the lowest payroll in baseball right now. One of the lowest, at least, if not the lowest. And when you look at that team and you say, like, wow, no, like, insane, like, superstars on that team. There's no, like, type of Mike Trout, Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts type player on that team. But there are a bunch of solid players who produce together. And sometimes, even though there are some teams that throw a lot of money at big players and, just hope that produces, in which most cases it does. Tampa Bay is one of those very unique teams that I don't think we're going to see, you don't see very often in sports. And I think that honestly, we should cherish it, to see, how they operate these days, because whatever they're doing is working, as little money as they're spending.
Yeah, it's like perfect. I think of Moneyball. I'm like, maybe that's what it was supposed to be, or at least in a short season, Moneyball would have worked like that. Anyway, yeah. So talk about the Twins.
Yeah, so Twins Astros, I'm not going to lie, I had the Twins sweeping that series. That offense was absolutely potent. You have guys on that team, Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano, Eddie Rosario, Byron Buxton hit for a good amount of power this year. Guys who are a little bit on the downside this year compared to last year, you throw in guys like Mitch Garver, guys like Max Kepler, who still did well, but nowhere near the level that they produced last year, obviously. It's a wacky season. Anything could have happened. So I don't think this is really going to be a loss of their production to come. I don't think that this season is going to, have a negative effect on the rest of their career. It's just, this season was what this past season was. But even brighter spots is the pitching, believe it or not. Most people expected, even with the depth they brought in, and guys like Homer Bailey, in Kenta Maeda, and guys who had breakout years last year, like Jake Odorizzi and Jose Barrios. So surprisingly enough, that pitching has been a lot better than what most people had projected for it to be. Most people thought that the Twins team was going to rely strictly on their offense because of the home run record they set last year and the amount of runs they scored last year. But it was nice to see that pitching kind of took the next step and that the offense really didn't really miss out on that much. The one shock for me, though, is that as potent as that offense was, they only got better this past season. They ended up surging into first place. They were on a streak that not many teams were going to be able to knock out. And then you get a team like the Astros, who, as bad a season as they had, we know that team is talented with guys like Springer, Altuve, Correa. Even with down years that they had, it's not so surprising to see the Twins lose, but it's kind of surprising to see that they lost this early for where they were at and for how bad that Astros team had played this year. So that's my thoughts on it. And for all we know regarding Houston now, maybe they could get on a hot streak and find their niche again and, kind of maybe reestablish themselves as that juggernaut they were over the last few years, despite the regular season that was a little bit under par to their standards coming in.
I like that. And I'm sure Sammy's thinking this, but just for the time, I'm just going to point this out. You got to, as amazing as that lineup is, you got to look at their postseason record in the last, what was it, Sammy, 17, 18 games? 18 games.
This is their 18th straight playoff loss.
They haven't won a game in years in the playoffs. Years. It's insane. I feel like a lot of it just goes on to experience and proper managerial duties, because you have to know when to manage your players, bullpen, all that stuff.
And pressure.
Yeah, you gotta be aggressive. You gotta know when to make the right calls.
Yeah, Just one more quick thing, Joey. As you mentioned, they're a young team. I would argue they're probably the youngest in baseball right now, and they also have the youngest manager. And for where they are, I think their future only gets brighter from here. So even though 18 straight losses after this year is still 18 straight losses in the postseason, I don't think that you're going to see this continuing with this franchise in the next few years to come.
Fair, but I feel like Blue Jays are much younger. In terms of talent and age, they're
Bo Bichetti,
the kids.
Evan Biggio.
They're all the juniors, Anyway, so,
all right, Joey, thoughts on the Yankees and Indians?
I want you to go first. because your team's already,
My team's not eliminated.
No, didn't they win already?
No, no. So
Just talk about the game.
the White Sox and the A's. I'm going to be honest here. I do not have very high hopes for the White Sox. Looking at their record in the last week of the season, 7 straight losses, 34-16 or 34-17, whatever. To start the last week of the season, first place in the MLB in the AL, all but locked in, and then they just slumped. Everyone, actually, especially Luis Robert, who up until the September was amazing. They've all been in a slump, and essentially what bailed them out was what bailed them out of game 1 was Lucas Giolito, Adam Engel, surprisingly, and Jose Abreu. I do not think, even if the White Sox win this series, I do not think that this is their year. Particularly also because other than Giolito and Aaron Bummer, I guess, there really aren't many options in the pitching. The pitching is not very good, but I think I have very high hopes for this White Sox team. If they can keep it as stable as they are now, I have very high hopes for the future of this White Sox team. Sorry, what?
I thought you were done. Sorry. Go ahead.
So today, actually, the White Sox could have actually walked away with this one because in the top of the 9th, it was 5-3 bases loaded. So if you're thinking about it, the A's just barely, got away with one. They just barely got away with one. If you think, but unless you're looking at the entire game, the A's dominated the entire game. They were up 5-0 for quite a bit until Yasmani Grandal and others sort of started to bounce it back. Their problem now is who's going to pitch the next game. Because I do not believe they have a definite starter for that game. I think this series will indeed go to the White Sox unless the A's can get their stuff together. Also, is Matt Chapman going to be back? Is he going to be back? If Matt Chapman's back, that's an even bigger game changer. But that's a very big if.
I believe he had surgery, just to fill you in, Sammy. Or is having.
So are you done, Sam?
So now that I'm over and done with, let's hear your thoughts on your Bronx.
I just want to respond before what you said.
The Bronx Bombs.
No, before I get that, I just want to respond quickly what you said. So I feel like the two big factors is what you're right is pitching on both sides because A's have great pitching. At least 2 guys. What's his name? Luzardo and Hendricks.
Jesus Luzardo. Well,
Hendricks is a closer though.
Hendricks is a closer, but
they have pitchers.
Yes, I would say of the two teams, it's very, very close. But of the 2 teams, I do think the A's have the better pitching staff by very little.
I think the big factor is the fact that Matt Chapman, who could agree is probably the best third baseman in the AL, him or I guess Rendon, because I forgot Rendon's in the AL, but like a guy like that is a big hamper on how a team wins or loses. I feel like I know he's just one guy in the lineup, but just him being there, and also his play in the field is a big thing. That's another reason why I feel like the Twins also didn't have a great chance because the one guy who could win playoff games, Josh Donaldson, wasn't in. So I feel like that was a big part of it. It really sucks when a really, really key player is not playing. It really always makes you feel like, what could have been, right? But enough about what ifs. Let's talk about what did happen. Okay.
If Matt Chapman isn't injured, then Lucas Giolito doesn't almost go perfect through the first game.
No, he's getting a hit for sure.
No, he's not just getting a hit. He's getting a run.
He's getting a homer probably. Anyway, speaking of homers, so my team, the New York Yankees. Listen, you said you were worried about the White Sox ends. But let's get something straight. Even though it's the same season, a lot of people who are experienced had the philosophy, and they did last night. Brett Gardner and Gleyber Torres talked about it, that this season, this playoffs, there are new seasons. Last season, a week ago, that was last season. Okay? New season, new opportunity. So they took all that in stride, and they hit not 1, not 2, 4 home runs from very quality players. Aaron Judge, Stanton, Torres. I was actually really shocked because, they're playing Shane Bieber. Holy crap, they're playing Shane Bieber. Oh, how'd you do that? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Nobody knows what we're talking about. But the fact that you did that, the fact that you did that, I'm happy. We don't have to talk about it, and now we can talk forever. No problem. Okay, so stop laughing, Josh. Just do that every time, Sammy. Okay, that we fix the problem. Okay, so I can't hear you, bro. You're muted.
It's no longer 40 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Okay, so now we don't have to worry about time. Okay, great. Okay, so anyway, dude, you guys will all chime in. Were you shocked that Shane Bieber blew it in that game? I was totally shocked. Were you guys shocked?
Shocked is not even shocked is not the right word for it.
Baffled? Befuddled? Do the Stephen A.
Hoodwinked and flat out deceived by Shane Bieber and the Cleveland Indians organization. We're talking about a 1.20 ERA pitcher, the best pitcher in the entire AL, and right away he throws goose eggs and gives up more homers in one game than he did for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Feels like the whole season. That's how he gave up, man. Did he give up that many home runs in any other game? I seriously want to know.
I don't think he. I don't think he did.
The Twins, right, or the White Sox?
Definitely not the White Sox. I don't think he was.
Twins
I think he was rested.
Very possible against the Twins.
Definitely
probably against the Twins. Probably against the Twins. But that's crazy. That's insane. He got lit up.
It's crazy when you think about the pitcher.
13 runs. How many were charged to him?
12 runs. 12. It was 12 runs.
What do you mean charged? Can you explain that?
As in how many were his fault?
Yeah.
He didn't pitch for the entire game.
The first, I don't remember if it was
Judge's home run was definitely.
No, Stanton was at the end, so no. I think Gardner, so two home runs. But he also gave up other runs.
Yeah, I'm saying how many runs did he allow? Not home runs.
I'm saying it's the home runs plus the runs.
Can I answer that question? Hold on.
Plus the regular runs, the ones that were RBIs and singles, doubles. Okay, so 1, 2, I think 5 or 6 or something like that. I could look it up later, but
he gave up.
It was a lot. Oh my god, it was crazy. And it was also the most damage was done in the first 2 innings, which really says a lot. And it just goes to say, oh my god. Oh, this is the best part that we can share screen. I love that. Oh my god. Let's see. Okay, let's go to the bottom. I'm sure that they're gonna do pitchers. Go to the bottom. Okay, so Bieber, ER. Oh, is that what I think it says? Oh my god, dude!
7 runs. Oh my gosh, 13.5.
Wait,
wow,
is that
earned run average?
13. My god, that's atrocious. No wonder everybody's calling him Justin. Oh my god. Oh my
okay,
god.
I think that's a little harsh, Joey. I think that's a little harsh.
No, I think people are it might as well have been Justin Bieber in the last night. I wouldn't notice. I get it. Oh my god.
Let's also take into account this is a guy who had an ERA under 1.7.
Dude, he had everything: strikeouts, inning pitched.
He won the Triple Crown in pitching, but what was it, a 1.63 ERA, something like that?
That's why I'm so shocked. Look at that. 7 earned runs, 13.5 ERA.
13.5 ERA. Not only that, he only pitched 4 innings.
I know they took him out so early. I felt so bad for him.
You see, here's the thing. You have a great, when you have great pitchers
Garrett Cole, man.
Shane
13
Bieber.
13 strikeouts. Do you understand? This is the second time in history that someone's pitched 13 strikeouts in a playoff game without walking somebody. That's insane. I've never heard of such a thing. And just to make Josh feel better, the last person to do it, or the other person to do it, was Tom Seaver, just to make Josh feel better. Okay, so don't feel.
It's nice to see the Mets getting some love after.
I will give you the credit.
Tom Seaver, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Press F in the chats for Tom Seaver, the best Mets player by default. Okay.
So So if we've,
who would it have been if not him then?
Probably Piazza, or I guess Wright or DeGrom, I guess. Piazza, Gooden, Wilson. I don't know, like Piazza. That dude was drafted, 28th round? And, like, he's an
All
all-star.
right, yeah, okay. Like this isn't this year's playoffs anymore. Let's move on.
But okay, moving on.
Just to say how I felt about the game, I was very happy. I was very happy.
No, you don't say. So
And
moving
we
on.
can't tell already. Look at the score. I was very happy.
Let's talk about some dark horses
In the playoffs?
in the playoffs.
First of all, yeah, Cardinals.
I've already got a dark horse.
Marlins.
That dark horse, the Miami Marlins are going to stun the Chicago Cubs.
And you know why? You know why, Josh and Sammy? Because guess what? You know the last two times they went on a run like this in the playoffs? They won the
World
freaking
Series.
World
Only 2 times
Series.
they've ever been to the playoffs.
That's right, Josh. That's right. But that's the funny though, because the last 2 times they were in the playoffs, they went to the World Series.
Just take a second to imagine what would have happened if they kept all the players that they gave away.
All I know is that if they do win the World Series, SB Nation's gonna have the work cut out for them.
No, SB Nation, not only SB Nation, but all the guys that left the Marlins: Christian Yelich, Derek Dietrich, Giancarlo Stanton, JT Realmuto. All of these guys are gonna get.
Imagine that team. Imagine they had that team.
Stanton, all of these guys. Everyone's gonna go to these guys. They're gonna give them the business.
I just want to give you a few other players who are actually, like, you left out, believe it or not, but pitchers like who performed really well last year. For example, Domingo Germán was part of that.
Domingo Germán was mad.
And I think the biggest name, believe it or not, to be
forgotten
from what would have been that pool was, believe it or not, the current Padres ace, Chris Paddock.
Yeah, Chris Paddock. That's right. Exactly. That's amazing. Germán, Paddock, Realmuto.
And Ozuna. Don't forget about Ozuna.
And Yelich and Stanton.
Marcell Ozuna. I forgot about Marcell Ozuna.
Marcell Ozuna. That's the best outfield I've ever – like, that would have been the best outfield ever. Don't you think? Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton? Like, that's insane.
Unbeatable.
That's
Nearly
crazy.
unbeatable.
You can't beat that. That's insane. Okay. You think we should move on, or you want to talk about more since we were unlimited?
A little bit. Oh, I think I just want to go a little bit further.
You want to click on any matchups? Because you can, right? You're.
Yes.
Let's look at St. Louis. I'm interested in that.
St. Louis and the Padres.
Let's talk about that. Holy crap! I thought for sure, even before the Clevenger trade and getting Moreland and everybody, that the Padres were going to just smoke the Cardinals. They're also a huge dark horse.
Yeah, there's one thing about the series.
What?
Experience.
Exactly.
The Cardinals have a
lot of playoff experience.
To be fair, though, the Cardinals don't have that veteran team that they had filled in, 4 or 5 years ago. You're still seeing young guys on this team.
They got the GOAT, Yadier Molina.
They got that far last year in the playoffs, and I genuinely think they can do it again.
That was crazy, by the way, because everyone. No, but see, that wasn't crazy that the Cardinals got there in my mind, because in my mind the Cardinals always get kind of far. I thought it was crazy how the Nationals were there and then they swept there.
That's not crazy when you think about how they have the two of the best pitchers in the entire National League.
They had a great team like that for years, with Harper, and they didn't get past the second round, just like the Caps.
They didn't get past the first round.
Exactly, worse than the Caps. And they had Bryce Harper, and then he leaves, and then boom. That's why it's a shock, because you thought St. Louis was going to – and they got swept. They didn't even win a game. That's crazy. And, I love these names, Colton Wong, Paul DeYoung, most random dudes ever, and they're actually pretty good rate. A lot of them pretty hit well for average, actually. Not Wong this year, but, the other guys, I know the season's the season, but, last year they were doing very well, and, I feel like they still hit it up. Who pitched? Can you go to the bottom?
It was Wainwright tonight.
No, it was no. Wayne White is the next. It was Gallegos.
Go to the bottom.
It was
so Kim and Paddock. So let's look at that. 3 earned runs. Okay, not worse than Bieber.
Why does it keep automatically scrolling up? I don't understand.
Don't touch anything. And then, oh my God, Chris Paddock, 6 earned runs, and all right, whatever. It's okay. I don't need to know.
Sammy, what is Paddock's current earned run average at the moment in the playoffs?
I'm trying to see if we can just get there.
23.
Oh, that's worse than Bieber. Holy crap.
That's not
Whoa!
close. That's a full, like, just under 10 points higher than Shane Bieber's.
Dude, it's crazy when all the other pitchers don't even have an ERA. That's insane. All the other pitchers are 0 on their ERAs.
And the shocking thing is that if I saw that correctly, that
Joey, accept the. You're controlling my screen now.
Okay.
he didn't. It seems like Paddock did not allow as many. Yeah, Paddock only had 6 earned runs. Bieber had 7. He did it in less innings, though. That's why.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so well, I'm confused. I didn't do that. What the heck? Are you doing this, Sammy? You said it says I guess we both can use it, right? Okay.
You might want to
Dude, I find it really
For
weird
fuck's sake!
how
Oh my God, hold on.
I love how you have Blackboard and Web assigned, and you don't even go to the same school as me, and that's literally what I have on my
Oh,
thing.
for God's sake!
And I
So
also
why are we
have
showing this during like a sports podcast? Honestly,
well, so our viewers can
Because I forgot to close it. I'm sorry.
No, but it's just
Leave me
funny.
alone.
It's funny because I have the exact same 2 things on my desktop right now. The exact same 2 things. I have Blackboard.
Okay,
and
we should be
website.
good. There's
Because
just one thing I want to look at going back to going back to you want to talk about earned run average? Earned run average. Take a look at this. Okay,
Wait a
take look
second.
at-
Wait a second.
Oh wait, no,
this
no,
game?
that's
Dude, why are you ruining the game for me?
the score's been there for the entirety of this stream. Though.
I know, but that score. I wasn't looking at that score.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? You think Bieber's ERA is bad?
Okay. Oh my God, Simber.
Adam Simber,
No.
Adam
40.5.
fucking Simber.
Oh my God, that's right,
40.5
because that's when
ERA.
Gardner had the home run. And
Didn't even
Simber had the home run.
last a full inning.
Just want to point out,
Bruh.
Simber was a former All-Star, by the way. Simber, former All-Star.
So was Betances.
Yeah. We all know where that ended up.
I'm sorry. And okay.
All right. So
enough,
considering
enough.
this World Series predictions, we know Josh is already. Josh has the Rays against who?
This is. I know I'm probably.
It's tricky,
hate.
right? It's very tough.
I think I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I'm gonna have to say the Reds. Honestly, I think that
Reds
is as potent.
Me and Sammy were thinking of the same team, weren't we? But
that is a team that strictly relies on offense. Like Trevor Bauer is great. Don't get me wrong. Sonny Gray coming back is going to be great. Don't get me wrong. But
Castillo,
that lineup in Votto, who can still easily turn it around. He's got postseason experience. Moustakas, Castellanos, who has been the star of that team, and Eugenio Suarez starting to turn things around in the second half of the year. And then you might as well mention the great season that Jesse Winker had out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
That is a team.
That guy's great this year. Oh, my
Jesse Winker, yeah.
That is a team, I think, that is similar to what the Twins kind of had last year. Like, the pitching was not incredibly strong this year, even for the names they had, just like the Twins did last year. They were way more reliant on their offense, and I think that they might have some easier matchups in the National League than the Twins would have, for example, had. They got Houston, as I mentioned before. I'm not going to get into that again. But Atlanta, as talented a team they are overall, the one thing that hurts them right now the most is their pitching right now. Max Fried came back healthy, and Jackson's been good for them. But I just don't see a point where that starting pitching is going to carry them now over these next 2 games against the Reds offense that, by the way, is the first MLB team in history to get 11 hits in a game and forget about just lose the game, but not even score a run in the postseason. First time in MLB history that's happened. So I don't think that's going to be something that discourages them. I think they're going to want to build off of that. And like I said, momentum can mean a lot right now. If they start riding momentum, who knows where that team could go. They could go far.
Right. So, yeah. So, I was going to say something about that. Right. So, you think in how many games? You think it's going to win in how many games and MVP? I already think it's too early.
World Series. Okay. I'm going to say, again, like that doesn't change. As hot a streak the Reds could get on with that offense, it still doesn't change my opinion that the Rays are probably going to win the World Series. Again, like I said, that was a prediction I made way before the season even began. Like once we had the whole layout, how many games it was going to be and how playoffs were going to work and everything. But if I had to say, I'd have to say the Rays are probably going to win a World Series against them in 5 games. And I think the World Series MVP is, believe it or not going to be a player in the field known for their hitting. I think that we could honestly see a guy like Blake Snell or Tyler Glasnow taking it this year.
Right. Okay.
That's a hot take.
That's just, yeah, I think.
No,
if,
it's
I
not
think
crazy
if the
because
Rays,
guess what? If I had the same matchup as you and the Reds won, I'm 100%. Even though they have great hitters, I'm picking Trevor Bauer. Oh my god.
yeah, you could see it. I think either way, like even with because if the Reds are going to be relying on offense, then, the Rays pitching is going to have to do something to that offense. And they have the pitching to do it. Morton, Glasnow, Snell, even if they're not going to start them in the order. But either way, like those are 3 right there. You throw it out. You could easily be up 3-0 in a series the way they play. I think that maybe you could see a potential bullpen appearance coming from one of them because they've done that with those 3 in the postseason before.
Okay, Sammy, you? How many games, by the way, Josh?
How many games?
Yeah.
I say 5. Rays in 5.
Okay, Sam? What?
I want to start out by not going for the World Series, but going with. Let's start with the Final Four, the NLC, the CS matchups, the championship matchups. First of all, I think ALDS is going to be Houston and Chicago and then the Rays and the Yankees.
Yeah, it's hard, huh?
I don't know about. I'll skip Dodgers. I'll skip Dodgers and the Brewers. I think it's gonna be. I think the Cardinals are gonna beat the Padres, and then the Marlins will face off against the Braves actually.
So Marlins, Braves, and then would you say Padres versus?
No,
Sorry, St. Louis versus
St. Louis versus Milwaukee actually.
Oh my God! Wow.
And the reason here's why.
Because Kershaw.
No, not because Kershaw, because of the person who's going to put him in at the most inopportune times.
Dave Roberts.
Dave Roberts is going to screw over the Dodgers in the first round. That's what I'm
thinking. Lost them that series against the Nats last year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and without Houston's cheating, by the way, like they lost all by themselves.
Yes. As for the ALCS, I can't see Houston going any further, honestly.
So White Sox.
The only reason why the White Sox will make it to the ALCS is because of who they'll be facing in regards to the Astros. Because also, is it Verlander's? I'm pretty sure Verlander's injured.
Yeah, he's out.
Verlander's out, so that's already a giant bruise on an already beat up, on an already not terrible, but an already bad or mediocre Astros pitching staff, who will have no answers to Lucas Giolito. And as for the other team, I want to go with Tampa Bay. I think I am going to go with Tampa Bay, but it's going to be a 5-game series, and I have a feeling that
it's going to go to 5.
It's going to go to 5, but it's going to go to extras in 5. It's going to be this is a down to the wire kind of thing, because the Yankees have amazing the Rays, I would say, have the superior pitching staff, but the Yankees have
Lineup.
First of all, the lineup, yes. Second of all, they have one of the most clever. I'm not going to say smartest, because smart isn't the word I'm looking for. The most clever managers in the entire league.
Crafty.
Aaron Boone. Crafty, yes, actually. Crafty managers in Aaron Boone.
Isn't
Aaron Boone is a crafty motherfucker, honestly. He is what he did last year. This Yankees team is championship bound if he keeps doing what he's doing. Championship bound Yankees team. Actually, not only that, I think the Yankees will definitely. I said before, the White Sox are a championship bound team. The White Sox are a championship bound team. Yankees are going to win one before the White Sox. But so it's going to be the White Sox and the Rays. The Rays are gonna. I think actually the Rays are going to sweep the White Sox.
Okay, and then
on the NLCS, it will be
Miami Braves.
Braves are going to go past the Marlins. Are going to beat the Marlins.
Okay.
Based on not much, but based on playoff experience.
Exactly. And the other one?
And they're going to face off against the Cardinals because of playoff experience.
And then who wins that? Because they both have a
Who wins that?
That's hard.
That's probably the toughest decision.
Well, who's your World Series pick for the NL, you know?
I don't know though. This one's also going to be a 7-gamer unless if Acuna gets injured. Or if something happens to Ronald Acuna.
Yeah, you can't go on what ifs. You have to know what we do.
No, that's a good point. This is a 6 or 7 game series. It's not going to be a sweep. It's not going to be it's not going to be a blowout. This is going to be a 6 or 7 game series. And I think I want to give it to the Cardinals.
Okay, and who wins? Rays Cardinals.
Rays Cardinals. I don't know how. I don't know how.
You don't know how, but the Cardinals are going to win.
No. I don't know how the Cardinals are going to answer to Glass now, or how they're going to answer to Blake Snell, how they're going to answer to Hunter Renfroe. I don't know how they're going to answer to him. And I think the MVP of this World Series. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Do you think there's a possibility that the MVP
goes to their team
is from the losing team?
Who would it be?
I don't know, but I feel like
I don't think I'm gonna give it to anyone before.
I feel like
Goldschmidt. If it was gonna be anyone from St. Louis,
Goldschmidt, yeah.
Goldschmidt.
But it has to be like that because it's not like hockey. It has to be just that series. He's gonna have to do a hell of a series against those 3 pitchers. You have to understand.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. He would be deserving if he beat down on Morton and Snell and Glass now.
All 3 of them. He has to beat like I know it's a 7-game series, but he has to beat all 3 of them at least once. Like he has to.
Say he gets 2. Say he gets 2 at bats a game against each of those pitchers.
Now
right?
the only
he goes like 5 for 6 or 6 for 6, right, with like 3 or 4 RBIs, easy, right there.
Now I'm saying this, assuming this. Okay, now here's an if situation right here. I took the Rays against the Yankees, right?
Okay.
The Yankees have one pitcher who is on the very team that beat them in 5. That was on the very team they took to 5 games last year, and that's why I'm taking the Rays to go forward also, because they took the Astros, who were at the time the top team in the AL. They were the team to beat. They took them in 5 games. They pushed them to the brink. So that's why I think I'm going to stick with Tampa Bay.
And then the Rays, who's the how many games? 7?
In the World Series?
Yeah.
6.
Okay. So just to go in between you guys, because we're a little pressed for time, I'm just going to say quickly, because Josh just said series. Well, it's getting late, you know. Also, we have 2 other sports to cover, remember?
Right.
So just – okay. So I'm going to go in between. I'm going to not just say World Series. I'm going to say mine. I'm going to say much quicker, okay? So wait, go back up. Let me see. Okay, good. Stop right there. Okay, so 1 versus 8 on the right. I'm a big Dodgers because of experience. Because I know Jay Roberts will choke, but not yet. Wait for it.
You're gonna wait until the climax.
San Diego, St. Louis.
Not because of talent, just because of experience. Got it.
Exactly. San Diego, St. Louis. St. Louis experience. Miami Cubs.
Also, I just want to point out, San Diego is still a very new team right now.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. I mean, they're a very not. It's not more so play. It's not a question of playoff experience. It's more chemistry-wise,
They're very new.
this team is very, very fresh on the market. So I think
there's a very new team.
next year, if they make the playoffs, they'll advance.
Yeah, they'll go much farther, but this year, no.
Yes.
Miami Cubs, I'll actually go for Miami because, they got on crazy runs when they get here, and I'm going on the Miami train. If they get hot, oh, man, they're already leading 1-0, and the Cubs, I think
the Cubs are going to lose some pieces in the offseason.
I think they're going to take the Cubs to 3 in this series.
They're arguably one of the best teams on paper.
Cubs?
No, their run they had they had certain spurts of amazingness in the season. So I'm
who, the Cubs or the Marlins?
The Marlins. Alcantara, oh my God, that dude's awesome this year. And then I'm actually gonna say the Reds beat the Braves because while the Braves do have experience, they are very injured on the pitching side. All their guys are out. The only person you can rely on is Max Fried, and he already played yesterday, right? So I'm not confident in the other people. I really am not. That's just me. So I'm giving it to the Braves because that rotation is it's so good.
Reds?
Yeah, the Reds.
Okay, because you said Braves.
I said Braves. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, fine.
Okay, and then the other side, Rays, obviously Houston, right? Sox. I'm going to do Sox because, Chapman and things like that, even though I think just the pitching's great, but I'll give it to the Sox. I'll do it for Sammy.
You don't have to do it for me.
But I do think the Sox are going to lose to the Astros because.
So you're not going to pick Cleveland for me, right, Joey?
No, I'm not. What? No, I'm picking the Yankees for that.
Let me hear your reasoning for the Astros. Hold on, let me hear your reasoning for the Astros.
Because at the end of the day, they still have experience.
Experience, fine, but you got to remember their 2 top pitchers are no longer there.
But they have the hitters, and the Sox don't have the pitchers.
Yeah, like you said, Sammy.
They don't have the pitchers. They don't.
I don't think I think the Astros have as many. I guess Zach Greinke, but I think the Astros have as much.
I have more faith in Greinke than anyone else on either team.
In Greinke than anyone else on other team.
Yeah.
Okay,
Greinke's been there. Greinke's been there before.
He's been to the playoffs very far with the Dodgers.
That's fair.
That's why, and that's why I'm gonna put the Yankees over the Indians. And I actually am going to say they're going to beat the Rays. You don't have
to explain why the Yankees are going to.
Okay, but someone's going to ask. Someone's going to ask me. Okay, but I want to give reasons. I don't want to just be biased. I want to say I think the Yankees are going to beat the Rays, but only in 5 games. It's not going to be a sweep for nothing.
It shouldn't be a sweep unless.
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be.
Unless the injury bug plagues one of the teams.
And I'll tell you, just because last year, I think the Rays it's going to be just like last year with the Astros. Because you're going to put your best foot forward with your guy in game 1, and then if it has to go to game 5, you're going to put him toward the end of game 5. So just like last year with Cole, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to put Cole at the end of game 5, and he's just going to dominate probably those guys. It's a good chance. I honestly do believe that. And then it's Yankees-Astros. While I do have faith in Greinke, I have faith in just Greinke. I have faith in other people on the Yankees on both sides of the ball. So I will say the Yankees beat the Astros and go to the World Series. Okay. Who do I have on the NLDS?
You got Dodgers,
Cardinals, Marlins, Reds.
Okay, so let's do Marlins, Reds because that's easier. I love Marlins, but that rotation is deadly in Reds, so I'm going to put the Reds ahead. And they're going to play. I like St. Louis and I like LA, but I don't think St. Louis has enough on the hitting side to get any runs, to produce runs. And I think LA for sure has people like that known as Mookie Betts, Bellinger, Turner, and so.
All right. Well, Bellinger's been a liability
but not Bellinger. Not Bellinger. Sorry, Seager. Not Bellinger.
Seager was a goose egg last year as well.
No, but this year he's doing well, right, Josh?
Who?
Seager.
Seager is had an incredible.
This year he's having a good year.
Okay.
Don't forget about guys like Max Muncy.
Max Muncy's bouncing back, yeah.
And Jock and Pollock, Okay, so now here's the part where we're all waiting for. Cincinnati versus LA. Dave Roberts, I love you, my man. You always know when you never disappoint, Dave Roberts.
It's only I was waiting for it. Dave
Roberts, you're gonna blow this motherfucker out of the water. You're losing this. I got Yankees Reds. And I actually think it's going to go to 7 games because I think the pitching is – I think we got a UCLA matchup.
The World Series is going to go to 6 or 7 no matter who's in it.
Bauer Cole, I think, is just going to be dominant.
I wouldn't say that, Sammy.
I think it's going to be Yankees in 7. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be down to the wire. And I think I'm going to have to give it to I don't even know who to give it to. I'm not even going to lie to you because we had DJ, we got Cole.
Go with your heart. If you go with your favorite team,
I don't know who to give it to. DJ or Cole. I probably Cole because Cole's going to be the difference maker in both of these. Like Cole and Bauer. Those are going to be the difference makers, the pitchers.
I would go Cole over Bauer.
No, I'm saying on either team, whoever wins, like Cole Bauer. You know what I mean?
So does that mean that one of your predictions is going to be those guys for MVP?
I'm saying for World Series MVP, it's going to be Cole or Bauer. That's what I'm trying to tell you. 100%. I'm being very honest. Cole or Bauer.
I mean, for the Nationals last year was
Strasburg totally deserved it.
It was completely deserved from Steven Strasburg.
100%. That's why I'm saying the same thing here. This year, Cole or Bauer. Okay, boys. We talked a lot about this. And since it's getting late, we'll talk only a little bit about it because I know Josh doesn't want to talk about it. Let's move on to the next subject. Footy ball. Okay.
Ball of the foot variety.
Ball of the foot variety, but not from those damn people in the other countries of the world. Different ball.
The other like 500 million.
The other foot. This is the other foot. My left foot. Okay, never mind. Everyone, moving on. Anyway, so we'll talk about I don't know if you guys want to talk about more, but we'll talk about just this one game. Mahomes Monday Madness. Did you guys watch this game? At least highlights?
I watched the highlights.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Game. Forget the highlights.
Legitimately, the Chiefs, the Ravens.
They own them.
Were shot. The Chiefs Dick Cheney'd the Ravens.
Dude, they freaking carpet bombed the Ravens. It's insane.
Absolutely no answers for Mahomes magic.
They made me think that Lamar Jackson was their second running back. Like, just their second running back.
Lamar Jackson is their second running back.
No, but usually he's more than that. Now, that game.
Also, but you got to keep in mind, the what's the names again? The Ravens are missing a very key piece in their lineup.
Which is?
Mark Andrews didn't play.
That is true.
Yes, he did.
He did?
Yes, he
did.
did.
Now we gotta look this up, Sammy. Share your screen. We have to look.
He played, and I will tell you why. Because I specifically remember the second I turned it on that there was an attempt for a touchdown throw to him.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Right through his hands.
You're right. You're right. My bad.
All right, don't look that up. I like the background of your search engine though. It's very peaceful.
Yeah, and it's who is the snow-covered giant? The highest peak in North America. That's
we gotta just talk about the beautiful play of Mahomes because you know he's gonna play.
Which one?
No,
you mean overall?
The all-around play. But if you're asking me which one, I'm gonna talk about the 3: the deep throw to Hill and the 2 crazy unexpected touchdowns. One of them to a fullback. What? And one of them to, as our favorite YouTuber, Your Name Tree would say, a fat guy touchdown. We got a fat guy touchdown.
We got a fat guy touchdown, and we got a fullback. Yes.
Oh my God.
By the way, this is keep in mind. It's not always. He is living, breathing proof that it's not always good to be, the starting quarterback in your rookie year.
No, it's great to learn. It's great to take.
He was in his rookie year. He was on the Chiefs sideline for the entirety of the season, except for the very latter half of the season, the very last couple games of the season. He was the backup to Alex Smith, and he was legitimately. He was to say he was grinding that playbook is an understatement. He was
just willing to learn.
Yeah,
love him.
He was doing everything he could. It's like you guys. Josh, did you see the movie Kingsman?
Yeah.
Actually, no. That's not a good way to use it. That's not a good reference. Sylvester Stallone, Rocky. He's Creed, baby. He rockied that playbook. He rockied everything that when he was on the bench. That's why he is where he is today. I genuinely think that that him being on the bench, is what for the entire year is what made him who he is, who the quarterback he is today. I'm gonna go further by saying that even if, and this still hurts me, by the way, even if the Bears picked him, even if the Bears picked him, even if the Bears picked Deshaun Watson,
because they'd play him right away.
They would play him right away, and they would, and he wouldn't become the player he is today. But the only reason why is because the Bears wouldn't have another option at quarterback.
Right.
Who the other option at quarterback was when Drew Trubisky was drafted?
Mike Glennon.
Mike fucking Glennon.
Oh my gosh, what a name! Honestly, like what
He
a what a
signed
throwback.
that dude right the day before. I can't. Oh my
All
god.
right, so guys,
Okay,
I have a quick question for you guys. More than just what happened this past Monday, we saw after that Ravens first drive that Mahomes completely picked that team apart, and we know the Ravens, defense is very talented. The
Yep.
Chiefs' offense is very, very clearly, at least in my opinion, the best offense in the league. There's no question about it.
I actually think it's the best all-around team, but yeah.
The best. I wouldn't say the defense is there just
Defense
yet.
is not
They're
there.
definitely
How about the
strong. They
Niners?
showed
How about
both.
the Niners at full health? Would you give them the best all-around?
Niners at full health are the best.
Yeah,
full
I
health?
probably would.
Jimmy G, Mostert, and Kittle, and then the defense. You got.
Well, they've lost pieces. They don't have Emmanuel
No,
Sanders.
but I'm saying at full health. At full health, they're the best all-around team on both sides.
Then, yeah, I would probably have to
And
agree with that.
also, when you include special teams, because you got Robbie Gould and who's automatic. Love that guy.
The fact that
so-
the Bears, why did the Bears let
think
him
about
go?
the Ravens.
Why
really
did the
quick.
Bears let him go?
Yeah, but what
can
really
understand.
quick before you continue, Josh, Ravens and Chiefs also have the two best kickers this year, besides Gould, Butker and
Butker.
Butker. Oh
But
my
That's
God.
true. Okay, well,
Okay, go
here's
ahead.
what I'm going to say. So obviously, I mean, like, if we're going to talk about, the magic of
they're
Mahomes,
back.
then I think that more than just this game also has to be asked the question is, do you think that even though he's shown tons of promise to be one of the best quarterbacks this game has ever seen, because he's on pace for that right now,
I'm still listening to this thing water.
in
I'm still listening.
more than a full year, that the $450 million contract extension was worth it? Do you think it was a bit of an overpay, or do you think
Wait a second. Do my ears deceive me? Are you asking me if I thought that the contract for Patrick Mahomes was an overpay?
Yes. For as young as he is,
Hold on one second.
as much promise
I'm
as
going
he
to scream for a second, but not at you. Sammy! Sammy! Okay, I want to say my reaction, but let's table that, and let me just ask you about two other games really quickly. How
Sure.
bad was Atlanta? Oh, my God, they blew it again. I felt terrible for them.
I just want to point out also, they say, like on NFL Network, during NFL Game Day Live, that's like generally what I think. That's what I do. At least I put between the two games to check on updates. But the analytics were showing, like that offense is insane. It starts with Matt Ryan, who's still pretty young. The amount of years he's still been playing in the league, he's under 30 years old, so he's got plenty of promise still.
Okay,
And
so we'll go back to that.
What I miss?
I just want to – we'll go back to that right after, Josh, because I just want to – Sammy, you know what Josh just asked me? He asked me if I think the contract for Mahomes was an overpay. Do you want to answer for me, Sammy?
First of all,
No, it was not an overpay. In fact, I think he got underpaid. That dude, in his second season, first season won the MVP, scored 50 touchdowns. In his second season, took his team to the Super Bowl and won MVP. In 2 seasons. You know how many other people have done that? Tom Brady. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, like
Maybe Eli. No,
if I
not
were-
Eli. Sorry, maybe Ben Roethlisberger. But that's it.
if it sounded like I was implying it was an overpay, I don't think it was. But I've been getting I've been talking to a lot of people lately, and a lot of people are still saying, like as good as he is, I think $450 million right out of his first 2 years, as good as he's been, is just too gutsy.
I think it's more about the years than the money. I feel like as the years go on, remember I talked to you about this yesterday about something else. They can work out with that money. In NFL, you're able to fix contracts. What's it called? There's a word for it. You're allowed to reconfigure contracts. You can play with it. So in the later years, they will play with it if they want.
You can tamper.
Yeah, you can tamper with it. You can refigure it. But like the thing is, you have to understand this offseason was unbelievable. They re-signed 18 of their 22 starters. Do you understand that? 18. Yep. 4 people they didn't sign, and they're probably not going to be missed. Not going to lie. They re-signed their O tackles and their D tackles, and they signed Kelsey and Kittle at the same. Like Kelsey, huge deal, very deserved, man. At the trajectory he's going on, he deserves the money. They can, especially because they can refigure his contract by a lot. Okay, I think it's very deserved. So, you think we should move on, or we want to keep talking about it? I feel like we've said we've said enough about this game.
I feel like we should move on.
Sammy, I asked Josh about what the hell's going on in Atlanta, how they could lose a game like that, and Josh was saying, "What do you want to continue, Josh?"
Yeah, I'll wrap this up real quick because I mean I don't think we should spend too much time on football. The goal was only to spend it on this game.
Right, but before you say that, I just want to say one more thing about another game really quickly. I forgot who Los Angeles was playing, but the Bills. It was a 28-3 lead. And they almost blew it because on the last play they got a lucky flag. If they didn't get that flag, they would have blown the game 28-3, and I would have laughed. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. I mean, regardless of that, so I believe the two hosts on that show. I don't remember one of them, but I believe James Jones, former NFL wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, was another one. And he, like, if there's anyone I trust with a receiving core and analysis breakdown for the career he had, it's definitely that guy. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been through it all. Played with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Aaron Rodgers. For him to say, like, just flat out,
been through it all is an understatement. His upbringing.
By the way, Aaron Rodgers, great season. Just want to say, holy crap, he's having an amazing season. Like,
for him,
when is he not having an amazing season?
No, but this is like different. Like, he's so happy. He dumped that race car chick. He's happy, bro.
The race car chick.
So for him to say that confidently, the problem in this Atlanta Falcons team is not this offense, 100% accurate, because if you look at it, week one, okay, like it's the first week, like anyone could be shaky, anything could happen. The Niners, who were predicted to be one of the top two teams, lost to the Cardinals. As young as they are and as energetic they could be, we know the big acquisition of trading Hopkins, of trading to get DeAndre Hopkins and giving up a great running back in David Johnson still, like no one – I don't think a lot of people really expected that. But so week one, anything could happen. But in week two, I don't know what happened against the Dallas Cowboys with that onside kick. I mean, like they should have just
I know what happened.
They just had all they had to do was fall on
onside kick, and they didn't teach them.
Yeah. So there was that, and then either way,
crazy because I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm really sorry to cut you off. I just want to say one quick thing. It's crazy because last year I didn't see any onside kicks work except one. And you know who it was, Sammy? It was Josh. It was Atlanta.
It was Atlanta.
They got the ball. Remember that last year?
That is ironic. Yeah. That is quite ironic.
That's the irony. I'm shocked.
Okay, so regardless of that, and if I remember it correctly, I think they had like a 20-point lead or a 19-point lead against Dallas.
16. Oh wait, no, that one.
They were the point is they were up multiple scores and not by just like 10 points. Like they were up, I think like 19-0 or like 21-0 at one point in the game or something like that. For them to be up that, and then the way they blew it has got to be.
What week was it? Week 2.
And for them to score 39 points at the same time. When you score 39 points and lose a game, you know it's not the offense's fault. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's worse. I didn't even realize they won by 1. That's really sad.
And then the fact that this team, they were in firm control over the Bears for most of this game. It really wasn't until the fourth quarter that Chicago really managed.
God fucking damn it!
Yeah, look at give it to me. I'll do it.
So, and again, the offense was very strong in this game against a Bears team that's known way more for their defense than their offense.
No, even with the Bears now, the Bears are they're the luckiest motherfuckers in this entire league right now.
No,
their team as a whole is awful right now.
Yeah, except for one player, baby, my man, Big Dick Nick. Let's go. That's the reason they
also the Bears lost. The Bears lost a huge chunk of their offense.
Yeah, that's true. And
when you have defense that plays the way they play, though, normally, at least like late in the game, they've been able to lock it down.
Right,
that Falcons offense was buzzing.
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The Bears defense will never be on the level that it was when Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator.
Wait, isn't this the same guy that forgot to call a timeout last week?
Vic Fangio, the
Well, I guess
DC.
that's good, right? Because if he's the
Vic
coordinator,
Fangio,
he's
the
not calling
DC.
timeout, so we're good.
Vic Fangio, the DC, is not Vic Fangio, the head
Exactly.
coach.
No, exactly. He's not going to call that timeout because he's not the coach. So, yeah, you're right. Even
Chuck
better.
Pagano, I love him. Great defensive coordinator, but Vic Fangio.
Wasn't Adam Gase also on the Bears too?
Adam Gase was offensive coordinator.
What's it called? How do you guys feel about switching the sport topic? I think we should.
I think we're ready for that.
Wait.
And thanks you, Josh, because it's late. And let's get on to our favorite sports, I think. Hockey!
Not my favorite. I hate to say it.
Okay,
it's
but the funnest sport.
That I'll give you. Fine.
Most exciting. Okay, and thank you, Sammy, for that graphic. We have our answer, ladies and gentlemen, between the Stanley Cup winner, between the Lightning and the Dallas Stars. Tampa Bay Lightning, Dallas Stars. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wow. I got to tell you guys, I did not expect the Dallas Stars to go this far. I did expect Tampa on paper, but because of last year, the greatest choke job and the greatest urinating tree video I've ever seen, I did not expect them either. Which is really funny because cool stat, last 2 years, one team that's been in the Winter Classic has gone to the Stanley Cup final. Last year was Boston.
This year was Dallas.
Very interesting. So, I don't know. Is that a preview to next year? I don't know. Maybe not.
Also the year the Blackhawks. Also the year the
Stanley
Blackhawks played the Capitals in the Winter Classic. They won. They ended up winning.
I'm gonna have to say it's gonna depend on who's in the Winter Classic because, quite frankly, I'm not trying to.
We're gonna have Detroit versus Ottawa.
I'm gonna have to go even lower than that. Quite frankly, I think Buffalo could be
Jersey.
worse. So guys, I think that we should.
We should talk about like the biggest players in this and the biggest surprises of this series and stuff.
Well,
like
more than that, I mean, like,
and off-season implications of the.
Yeah, I think we should lean a little more towards the offseason. The Stanley Cup was pretty clear. Dallas had that series on paper from the start. Like, if you were going to
all around they did with the team they had, like the pickups of Perry and
if you were going to go based off
Perry
of
and Pavelski,
if you were going to go based off of team play, then you could have said Dallas could have won this series easily. But if you were going to go on paper, Tampa Bay had the series locked up from the start of the postseason.
Right, you didn't think that Bogosian and Shannon Shattenkirk and even Maroon, who's great, was going to be that big of a difference. But damn, oh my god!
Keep in mind, this is a Lightning team without their captain for most of it.
Who played in a game for 2 minutes and scored a goal. And then he got injured again. God, I feel so bad for that guy.
All right, so guys, I think instead of shifting our focus more on the Stanley Cup Finals and the end result, that's more into it. I think that the biggest thing to focus on this year, or more than just this year, are teams that the off-season acquisitions, and I think there are two huge moves that were made that were used by teams in order to maximize their chance to get a better chance to sign players of higher caliber that are available this offseason. I'm just going to name a few real quick. For example, players like Torrey Krug on the market, players like Alex Pietrangelo, and I also believe that I'm sorry, who?
Nugent Hall.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Taylor Hall. Sorry. Yes, thank you.
Four
of the biggest names on the market right now, 2 offensemen and 2 defensemen. I think that breaks it down.
Right deep center winger.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw it even a
also
bit.
Also Kevin Shattenkirk. Kevin Shattenkirk is also on the market.
Also, but even into the pile, I think
it might depend on where he goes because that depending on where he goes, he doesn't always do well.
Yeah, in regards to that, I'm going to throw a 5th player in there who I think are not on many people's radars at the moment, but I think should definitely be looking out for, and that's former Rangers defenseman Tony DeAngelo, who's a free agent, I believe.
Yes.
He's an RFA, so not exactly. I think he's an RFA.
RFA, okay. So
but yeah, it's still important.
Okay, so just name some players on the market, and then for what certain teams have done in order to help with their cap situations, we know with the
St. Louis, big one, traded Jake Allen to Montreal.
Yeah, and with the pandemic, and the NHL making
the flat cap.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm gonna chime in just a few times just to clarify, not to say the whole thing, okay? Hello?
Okay, yeah. So with that being said, I think that the team, well, one of the teams that most NHL franchises, I'm not going to say, I won't say it like that, but one of the teams I think to look at that really hit the jackpot over the last year or so and has recently been doing it is in case you haven't guessed it, Joey pointed to his hat. It's the New York Rangers.
It's the Rangers.
Okay, but when we're talking
Arguably
about the
brightest
Rangers, I
future.
just want to say one thing. Like, you've two more free agents, goalies, Markstrom and
Oh,
Rogan.
yes, thank you.
That's big. So if you want to talk about that, like I feel like I want to end off on the Rangers, but I feel bad for Sammy. Or you want to talk about the Rangers first?
Yeah, you know how about this? I think
Let's talk about everyone else, and then we'll talk about the Rangers.
let's save the Rangers for next.
That's the last. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about like if we think Kudobin's gonna leave, Markstrom's gonna leave, Fleury maybe tries to get his way out back to Pittsburgh because of that whole situation. You know what I'm talking about, Josh? Did you see that picture of Fleury?
I know what you're talking.
Sammy, should we pull it up or we don't get scarred for
Pull it
life?
up.
What picture?
You know what picture? I told you about it.
Oh man, Sammy.
You're gonna have to remind me.
Just look up Fleury. The boy.
Peter. Oh yeah, okay, fine.
Pull that thing up. Let all our viewers see it, just in case they didn't notice it.
For anyone who
this
actually has
stuff-
the patience to
this
stay on
stuff-
this long.
No, go to images. Okay, that one. Yeah. Okay. In case this thing is Shakespearean, bro. This is
Oh man.
beautiful. Look at the beauty of this. Okay, we got Marc-Andre Fleury, and as he's trying to make a save, he's getting stabbed in the back by a sword.
That is painful.
And if you notice on the sword, it says DeBoer, which is his coach. And the best part is he still is making the save. Look at that. He still makes the save, even though he's getting stabbed in the back by his coach. Look at that. Look at that. He's still making that save.
hurts, man. That really.
Dude, he literally put this franchise on his back for years. This is the second time in a row he's been stabbed in the back by a franchise. Man, Pittsburgh's doing him dirty, and probably Vegas is going to do him dirty. So much so, he's probably going to go back to Pittsburgh and back up Chara. Just so he can get out of there.
I don't know about that one.
Okay, or he'll go to, like, I feel like the big ones that need a goalie are Calgary, Edmonton, Detroit, and San Jose, I think.
I just want to point out there were a lot of teams talking. Well, not a lot of teams, but a lot of people are tending to talk about the fact that Jacob Markstrom actually has a desire to go and play for the Calgary Flames with that offense that's been lacking elite goaltending. They brought in good veterans like Cam Talbot and Mike Smith who have done a nice job holding down the fort.
David
and
Riddick.
obviously a young guy in David Riddick, who's proving to, come out of nowhere and kind of hold down the fort also. But I think getting a young goaltender like Jacob Markstrom, and then if you could throw Riddick in there, like some teams have a multi goalie.
Right, two. They have two guys, right?
Exactly.
I think about Dallas, Arizona, and Vancouver.
The Islanders did it this past year, Varlamov and Greiss. You also have Vegas did it with Fleury and Leonard as well.
Did it a bit
not as much in the playoffs, but just overall.
Yeah, but that's the only real concern because I think Vancouver won't be as bad, because they'll still have Demko, who was amazing this year.
Yeah, and that's.
But they won't have their second guy.
That's on the plus side if they decide to go after Markstrom and keep him there.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they can afford to lose him because they'll have Demko as long as Demko's healthy. I just think it's bad if they don't have a good backup. But yeah, I think Markstrom and Calgary. Oh my God, that'd be something.
I can buy that. I can buy that.
Yeah. Do you think someone's going to Edmonton or Detroit or San Jose like Khudobin? Like, you think he's leaving Dallas to go to?
I think Khudobin will definitely get a lot of offers, especially because I don't know what Ben Bishop's contract is like there, but I wouldn't picture that it's.
I think they signed him for a lot because he chose to sign there. He wasn't traded.
Yeah, so if they have Bishop long term, I wouldn't be surprised to see them let Khudobin go a bit easier at least. But I feel like maybe the Stars are one of those teams that want to keep that goalie tandem going. The way Khudobin played this past postseason, he was incredible. Even in the Stanley Cup Finals, that Lightning offense was about as good as it gets. The only team I would really see with a much better offense is a team maybe like the Colorado Avalanche, who had the best goal differential, and I think they also had the most goals in the NHL scored this past year. And even so, Dallas managed to knock them off, and most of that was due to the play of Khudobin, who was white hot at the moment. Like, no question. Like, if you had to pick a player who kind of like, carried the workload for his team, right? It would have been Hudobin. I know McCann
I think we can all agree if the Stars won, the Conn Smythe goes to Hudobin.
It would have gone to Hudobin.
Maybe like Pavelski or Heiskanen or Gurianov as like a
as
dark
clutch
one,
as those guys were, and
it's
you're also going to talk about you're also going to talk about carrying.
I think on Tampa, like I love the pick of Hedman, but I really thought it should have gone to Point.
It should have gone to Point. I mean, like you could have gone either way.
But I think you could have gone either way. I think I think it was very close, but I don't think anyone else should have been in consideration.
Well, here's the way I see it: Braden Point.
Not even Vasilevsky.
This will be the last thing you hear from me tonight. Like I feel like I've gone a little above in this.
You got to talk about the Rangers, but yeah, like
no, like forget the Rangers. We'll save the Rangers for the next podcast. But with that point of Hedman versus Point, no pun intended. I could understand, that people are a little shocked even that it didn't go to Point, because Hedman, in my opinion, is the best defenseman in the NHL at the moment. I don't think there's any question about that.
I don't know. I feel like John Carlson might want to fight him.
I think that Carlson –
or maybe Roman Josi.
Well, I would say I would say Hedman's on a bit of a bigger level than them, because considering that he's been able to help lead his team go a bit farther than both those guys the last few years on a consistent basis. That's why I would take him, while those two I think are a little more geared toward offense. Hedman is a great offensive defenseman. He quarterbacks a power play. He puts up points. And at the same time, I think he's the best defensive defenseman in the NHL at the same time.
That's true. But those other guys, well, they haven't done
both fundamentally and skill-wise. So I can understand, the confusion of it didn't go to Braden Point like it was a question. It almost feels like people are taking this as if it wasn't a question. It should have gone to Braden Point. And while Braden Point had that insane, offensive showing this postseason, the one thing you're forgetting is I know I'm going to get hit hard with this, is that Victor Hedman, it's not that he, people say, oh, but he also scored goals. It's it was the level and the importance of the goals he scored. He won 2 of the postseason series for the Lightning in overtime. He won it against the Islanders. He won it against the Bruins. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he also had I don't know if it was the winning goal against it. He had a goal against the Islanders in the conference finals, which had tied the game. I think it was game 6. The Islanders jumped out to an early 1-0 lead, and about 4 minutes later, Hedman had the game tire and the game winner that game, I think.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Oh my God.
So with that being said, I don't think well, Braden Point, don't get me wrong. Now you're going to say, oh, well, Hedman won a series. Braden Point won the first series against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
I was going to say he had all the big goals. He had that. Game one. You know how crazy that first.
Sometimes it's not about sometimes it's just not about the quantity, and it's about quality. And I would more.
Why last year I thought it should go to Jaden Schwartz for the same reason, but I thought the only other person on his level in terms of all around play was O'Reilly, which is who we went to. So that makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I think that it was the right choice to give the Conn Smythe Trophy to Victor Hedman, and quite honestly, I think Braden Point is gonna see plenty of opportunities to get back to the finals. The caliber of player he is and how young he is, even if it's not with the Lightning that they keep this core around, because it kind of felt like this one year they just went all in, because they are not going to be in a great cap situation in the coming years.
Okay.
But no matter where he goes,
it's what always happens to Stanley Cup.
That's what I'm saying. Now we're gonna have a flat cap. They're gonna have to let all their big guys, all their big depth free agents go. Shen gone, Bogosian gone, Shen gone, Patrick Maroon's out. They're all going.
And I'm gonna wrap it up with this, Joey, on a side point that as you mentioned, I think this was the perfect year for the Lightning to go all in the way things had to end.
That's how they traded a first round pick for Goudreau and Coleman. They were ready.
That's what they wanted.
They were there.
That was the goal. The goal was to go all in. I think just
not to go to the finals, win the thing. They were ready. Knew exactly
they would have gone to the. In my opinion, they probably would have gone to the finals or the conference finals this year.
Yeah, but I'm saying they don't make those trades
for the depth that they ended up acquiring. That's when they kind of solidified, and that was the moment I said,
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm
This
saying
team is
they make
all in.
those
They're
trades
all in,
not to
or
go.
they're not
So
going anywhere.
I'm
in the
saying they
playoffs.
don't. I'm saying they don't make those trades just to go there because they're going there anyway. They go make those trades because they need the guys that are going to win. And guess what?
That's what I'm.
Coleman
Yeah,
and
that's
Goudreau.
what I'm-
Coleman Goudreau had a lot of clutch moments. You know, he had the game winner. Coleman had the game winner. That was a nasty shot. Oh,
Blake
that was
Col- yeah, that was
That was a
very that
That was
was nasty.
that hurt. That hurt to watch.
Nasty.
But your quick point, I'm just saying, yeah, the Rangers very exciting offseason. Kako, hopefully Lafreniere. It's gonna be very exciting. I'm excited for Vancouver's offseason. You know, if they're gonna do moves. But I think we have to address the big elephants in the room. I think Detroit's going to have to do a massive overhaul in order to change. I actually think they're going to go for Torrey Krug because the dude's born in Michigan. He went to Michigan State. And I think they might go for a goalie. I don't know who, maybe Khudobin. I think they're going to get two guys. I really do. And I think maybe Petrangelo's gone. I don't know where he goes. Unless they trade like another defenseman on their team like Vince Dunn so they can afford him.
You want to know a hot take?
Okay. But this is the last thing. Like, we're wrapping up.
I think Petrangelo has a chance to go to Vancouver
Why Vancouver?
to beef up their defense with Quinn Hughes.
They already have a defense. They have a great defense. They have Tanner.
The Canucks
don't
are not a team that need a guy like
Tanev.
That's like saying you should go to Nashville. Like, no, you should not go.
Tanev, really?
Tanev was great in the playoffs this year. He was great, in my opinion.
Okay, playoffs. How about regular season?
I care more about playoffs. I care. That's where you win. That's where the results are.
Yeah, Sammy. At least
I love regular season, but I don't think it matters.
At least in the
Obviously,
NHL,
it matters for morale.
Yeah.
It matters for morale and how you feel. But it's a new season when the playoffs start.
Yeah, Sammy. So this is how I view it. At least
I can tell you who's not getting him. I can tell you who's not getting him.
If you know if your team is good enough to go to the
Okay.
postseason or not, then you don't trade for players to get you there. Like if you know you're going to make it, then you trade for players who will help you get deeper into it. You don't trade for players necessarily.
Yeah, you sell when you know you're not going to make it, and you buy when you know you're going to.
Exactly.
All right, fine.
And that's
fine.
why
It's a
Petrangelo
business.
would. That's why.
Regardless,
Petrangelo would
I
not
still
go
think. Regardless, I still think I think Petrangelo, even if not Vancouver, I still think Petrangelo goes over the border.
I think you should. Okay, you want to know where I think you should go? I think you should go to Edmonton if they can afford him. I don't know if it's possible if they can afford him, but yeah.
The team that can afford him the most. The team that can afford him the most right now are probably the Avalanche. But they don't need him.
Yeah, but I actually
They're not going to go for him. They can afford him the most, but they're not going to go for him.
I think the Avalanche are getting Taylor Hall because the dude wants to win, and he's probably going to take a cheaper deal. It's because of the flat cap. I think they're getting Taylor Hall, especially because McKinnon's took a ton of discounts. I think they're going to get Taylor Hall.
One of the teams that need defensemen the most is they're not going to go for him, which is sad. Also, because they have no cap space, but it's sad.
I think Colorado needs him more than Vancouver for sure. I think they
who Petrangelo?
Petrangelo.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you right there, Joey. And I'm gonna call you out. The top 4 defensemen on that team are young and they are productive. You've got Sam Girard, Ian Cole, Eric Johnson, and of course you can't forget about the Calder Trophy winner, Cale Makar. I don't think there's any need.
Dude, where's Makar?
First of all, Eric Johnson, dude was drafted what, 2000?
Okay, so he has his veteran presence there, and he's
injured.
He's still very good. Obviously, his contract is not that great.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying,
but you don't. Okay, so they're in a bit, and the thing is that I don't think they'd be willing to sell out some of their depth players that gave them the impact this year. Guys like Nemesnikov, like Nazem Kadri, like
all the long names, Kadri, Nemesnikov, Burakovsky,
all these guys.
All these like garbage guys on other
salaries.
Burakovsky wasn't garbage on the Caps.
I think compared to
put up the best year of his career though with Colorado this past year, and I'm gonna wrap up this point with the following. And that's that. I don't think Colorado wants to really change anything to their team in terms.
You don't think they're gonna go for Hall? You don't think they're gonna go for anyone?
Because I'll tell you why. Because they still have.
Last year he tried to get Panarin to come. He said, "I'll give you my spot on the power, my spot on the power play. You can have whatever. I don't care." He just wanted him to come.
Well.
Oh shit! Whoa, guys.
It's late.
No. Just now, got a notification.
First, tell me which sport.
Basketball.
Okay. Oh my! Don't tell me that he came back. I'm gonna lose my shit.
Dragic suffered a plantar tear of his left foot.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Can I change my vote to Lakers in 5? I feel like Dragic is a huge part of that.
Dragic has been
Like, he gave up the
has
point
been
guard
very
spot
good.
to Tyler Hero in order to be part of that team.
Yes.
He did like a Fred VanVleet. He was willing to not become the backup and just like be a part of the starters. Just
Anyways, the team that needs defensemen most, I feel, they're not going to get any defensemen because they're in cap hell.
no, cap hell. Ooh, that's a lot of people. I think the biggest
Toronto.
cap hell is Toronto. Oh my God, they're not going
Not
to get.
not Toronto, not Toronto, not Toronto.
No, yes, Toronto. Are you kidding me?
I'm not talking
They're
about
all their
Toronto.
offense-
I'm not talking about Toronto.
No, but I'm saying who's not getting defensemen. Their first line, right, Josh? Their first line
is over 30 million.
is equal to all of Boston's all four lines of Boston. Right?
Holy shit.
And that's just their time.
Disgusting.
Forget about defense.
Disgusting.
Forget about your first overall line. Just their first line offense is over.
And then you have to
30
include
million.
Marner. You have to include or Leander, whoever's not on that first line. They're also getting paid so much.
Yeah, you're talking about Nylander. You're talking about guys like, oh man, what's his name? Who is the guy that
Hyman.
traded over? No, that they got back in the trade. Who was on a decent salary? Alex Kerfoot was getting paid a couple million a year. Also, he was believe it or not. And the last guy, Zach Hyman.
Want to go to Cap Friendly, Sammy? Look up Cap Friendly for Maple Leafs. But yeah, keep talking, Josh.
Zach Hyman as well. Another big player.
He's our Yid boy. Okay, but yeah, he's great. But yeah,
And then you're totally forgetting about their defense and guys like Tyson Barrie and Morgan Riley and Jake Muzzin, who are all.
I actually think they're gonna let not Riley. Even though I love Barry, I think he's gone because he's too much.
And then Frederick Anderson also. That's the other the goaltending also.
Okay, let's look at this. See this? This is terrible. Look at this. Look at the cap hit every year. $11 million a year for all these offensemen. For those, look at that. Matthews,
Top three.
Garner,
three.
and I'm saying the top 3. Look at that. It's disgusting. 11 a year. Do you know? Do you understand how 11 a year for each of them?
Mm-hmm.
That's 30 in the cap for just their first line. It's disgusting. And then wait, go down one more time.
And then don't forget about Nylander and Kerfoot and Hyman.
I want to go back. No, Sammy.
Oh,
don't look at
sorry.
the team now.
I was going to say, the team
You
that
want
needs
to compare to Boston because they're first.
no, the team that needs defensemen, the team that needs defensemen more than most of the league are the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks have not done anything with their defense.
I mean, what about New Jersey?
They have Subban.
Yeah, you're right. They do have Subban. Anyone else?
And Will Butcher.
They even traded their captain to the Islanders. Andy Green. Okay, let's see this. Okay. Okay, yeah, look at all these UFAs and RFAs. They're all.
Wait, guys, don't discard the defense also. Jake Muzzin and Morgan Riley are also getting paid $5 million each.
Oh, it's disgusting. And you give $2 million to Justin Hull. Who is that? I don't even know who that is.
Actually, no, he wasn't a rookie.
Justin Hull.
Oh my God,
Justin
Cody
Hull.
Ceci. They're all 3 of these guys are out. They're gone. They're not re-signing them. I guarantee you.
There's no way.
They need. Oh my God, Freddie Anderson's $5 cap hit.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they're happy to pay that money to Anderson.
I know,
Yeah,
but
I
he's
think so
UFA
as
next
well.
year, which means that they're gonna have to pay him way more than that to keep him. That's how contracts work. You pay someone so high on the first contract, you're gonna pay way more for the next one to keep him. He's a UFA next year. That means they're screwed. They're gonna have to pay a lot more next year. Oh my God, I'm scared for this franchise. Rob Beasley, please, God, don't die. Don't die. Okay.
Key reminder, Morgan Riley's on a modified no trade clause.
Which means you can't even trade that contract.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. Oh my God. Wait, but okay, here's the kicker. Here's the best what if scenario.
The cooker.
They're gonna leave him exposed in the expansion draft, and he's gonna go to Seattle.
I can actually see that happening.
They're gonna do that because it's not the worst contract on their team by far. Because they got a lot of duds on this team.
Who is the worst contract on that team?
Probably Johnny T. Probably Johnny T or Marner. It's hard to say. It's hard to say if Johnny T or Marner. Because Johnny T, his old team got farther than him this year in the playoffs. Really sad. And then Marner didn't do anything.
Both last year and this year.
Yeah. And with Marner, everyone kept complaining how he didn't do anything, like in the play-in round, and then in the last. And remember, in Game 4 they came back, so it's hard to judge. Like, is that one game enough to say that he was played better than Tavares? Because they all remember that last game they came back in Game 4. You're like, oh my God, they're coming back, and then they didn't win the next game.
Yeah.
Remember that? Like, that was because of Marner. That was because of Marner. He had like 2 assists and a goal.
All right, here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay.
Tavares, their
Look at the
captain.
difference. Look at the age difference though between Matthews, Marner, and Tavares.
Yeah, but isn't Matthews? Yeah, but like that's another thing. Like, oh my God, wait. You have to see, when does that end? 2026.
When Tavares,
Oh,
Tavares,
6 more years. He's gonna be 36, and he's gonna.
he's gonna be that money.
And look, there's a no movement clause.
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean he can't be exposed in what's the difference between a no trade and a no movement? Does a no movement mean he can't be?
I don't think they're gonna mind paying Marner and Matthews the money because they're both very young.
And they're very good. Like,
they're both Marner and Matthews are both only going better.
I also like
Tavares, as good as he is.
I think it's funny because you have a rule of 3 in Toronto, with the Blue Jays and the.
Yeah, well, as young as not as young as Tavares.
Not Tavares. I think
as good as Tavares is.
No, Nylander's who's my favorite.
No, I'm talking about the situation with Tavares right now in that top line, right? With their, what is it, like $32 million a year?
It's disgusting. Look at that.
Matthews and Marner are both 23 years old, and they're both only getting better. It's hard to
imagine.
A
no movement clause is a much more restricted version.
Two players that money, at least over the next 5 or 6 years. For a guy like Tavares, who's already 30 years old, like, we could start to see a decline in his play style a lot
quicker, very quick. It could be in the next 2-3 years. So they're going to have 3 years. Like, we're screwed because if it's really restrictive, does that mean he can't be exposed in the expansion draft? That means they're going to have to get rid of Riley and not him.
He could have, in my opinion, Tavares is basically going to become like the offenseman version of what the Avalanche now have in Eric Johnson. Could still be good. His play to decline.
And there's no first overall picks.
The only thing is that they'll have it in a
that's sad, bro. That's really sad.
Contract, which doesn't put them. It's not a great contract for the team.
It is not a good position. Dubas is going to have his work cut out for him the next 2-3 years because you already traded Kapanen to get rid of Kapanen.
I don't think Toronto considered Tavares' age as much, like, thinking about it.
I think they just thought, oh my God, let's get the best player available and not think about anything. Let's pay him whatever he wants because he wore our freaking team on his pajamas when he was 5.
I mean,
okay.
I think his goal.
Pajama boy. We're gonna sign him. We're giving him $15 million next year.
Toronto's goal was to basically go all in when they signed Tavares for that money, and when they upgraded. I don't know when they upgraded.
But you don't. But we talked about this before with Tampa. You don't do that kind of move at that point. You do that when you're one move away with Tampa. Like, let's say you're Tampa and you do that. You do that when you're at Tampa, where Tampa is that at now. You don't do that. You don't do that in the beginning of a rebuild.
And they thought they had good defensive depth with guys like Travis Dermott. Obviously, Riley's always been an offensive defenseman star. They brought in good depth in Cody Ceci. In my opinion, he was great. Tyson Barrie in the trade. But the biggest problem for me is not that it's this team. It's rather it's not who they face. I think it's in this team because to me right now, the Maple Leafs are kind of like the Yankees and the Dodgers of hockey. They both throw, like, both those organizations in baseball, the Yankees and the Dodgers, throw
a lot of money.
Tons of money at high caliber players. Don't get me wrong. It gets them through.
It could work, but it might not always work if you don't do it.
Gets them into the playoffs, but they can't win a title. It just doesn't happen. We've been witnessing it for both of those teams over the last 5-10 years in baseball, and I don't think that – and even though I know the Maple Leafs haven't been anywhere near as good as those two have been over the last few years, like, this is really only the second or third dominant year in a row they've had. And now you add another guy with the two guys in Marner and Matthews who are both getting $10 million plus a year, and now throw Tavares in at like $11 million a year. I don't think while it makes them a dominant regular season team, I think eventually they burn themselves out. It can only take you so far.
Okay, I think it's a little different just because I think the Yankees and Dodgers are like one move away from actually winning World Series. Maybe a little more for the Dodgers because they're going to have a problem with Betts' contract with the flat cap. Not the flat – actually, they won't have a problem. But yeah, like they're one.
By the way, no.
We should wrap up. By the way,
A no movement clause is a more restrictive version of it's a more restricted no trade clause.
so he could be. He might be.
He
Exposed.
can't. He stays with the team unless he gives permission to.
Guys, it's also really late, so let's try to
So let's just wrap it up, guys.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just wrap it up in there. Like you guys, I don't know what else to say. I mean,
Long story short. Long story short. Hall is gonna go.
Yeah, just tell me where you think 4 guys are gonna go: Hall, Pietrangelo, Krug, Nuge, Markstrom, Khudobin, like any of those guys. Where do you think they're going?
Dobby, I think.
Just say quickly the team.
That's
We
a
don't
good question.
have time for explanation.
Dobby, I actually think Dobby might be extended. Honestly.
Okay.
I think it might stay.
Markstrom.
Markstrom might consider going to probably also staying north of the border. I think.
Calgary.
I think Calgary.
Hall
Hall's gonna go to either the Avalanche or Detroit. Actually,
Nuge.
I actually don't know about Nuge.
Krug.
Toy Krug. I think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go out west.
Okay. And
I don't know where out west.
Pietrangelo.
Pietrangelo is gonna stay north of the border. Again, I can't say where.
Okay, and Josh, those 6.
All right, those 6 players, nothing more. Khudobin, I think, is going to get an offer from San Jose that I think he'll be pretty happy with after this past postseason.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I forgot San Jose.
Jacob Markstrom, I think his choice, similar to the way Panarin wanted to go and play for the Rangers that he did, that I think you get the same feeling here. He wants to go and play for the Flames because he knows he's going to get a good deal there.
Would you say?
Markstrom.
Yeah, okay,
Markstrom,
that makes sense. Okay.
I think he's going to end up in Calgary, and I think that's not just because they need him and want him. I think that's because he wants to play there also. I'm going to say Taylor Hall. Won't be surprised to see him on the Avalanche, yet I would be. So I'm going to have to say he might honestly stay in Arizona because they're not super far away from building a nice core. I'm going to have to say here's the shock of the prediction.
Yeah. What you say?
Pietrangelo ends up as a Ranger with the cap space that they traded away Mark Stahl, got rid of the rest of his contract, and bought out the rest of Lundqvist's contract. I don't know what that means for them having to re-sign some guys like D'Angelo, Fost, and Strome, but we'll see.
Well, I'll explain that in a second. But what about Nugent Krug?
Nugent Hopkins, I think, could stay in Edmonton. If not, maybe he goes to a team like the Islanders, who are about to lose out in Matthew Barzal.
And Krug?
It's very likely.
I do not think the Islanders. I do not.
I think they will. I think they'll get offer sheeted by Montreal because that dude's crap.
I think Krug is either going to.
Last year.
I think Krug is either going to end up back in Boston or is going to end up in Detroit. And quite honestly, if the
I'm just gonna leave this article up right now.
Angelo, then I would think.
I don't care what the article says. I'm gonna wait and see. Anyway, so I'm gonna say Khudobin goes to San Jose. I agree with that. Markstrom goes to Calgary. I agree with that. I think Krug 100% is going to Detroit because he wants his money and he lives there. I think Hall's going to Colorado. He wants to win. And then with Nuge and Pietrangelo, I'm gonna have to agree on the Nuge thing. I think Nuge will go to like a team that needs a center. Maybe he'll go to Buffalo. I don't know if they give him an offer. I think that'd be really cool if they have a 3 of Eichel, Nuge, and Eric Stahl. I think that'd be very interesting. I think they'd give him the money. And then with Pietrangelo, I think I'm gonna have to agree with the whole thing with the Rangers because they have the cap now that they traded Mark Stahl for like nothing. And they bought out Lundqvist, right? And I think they get Pietrangelo even if they sign D'Angelo because they could let other people go like Strome, other people like I forgot who it is, but like they probably would let D'Angelo go because I think I'd rather have Pietrangelo. But like it's hard to say. We'll wait and see. But I think we're gonna wrap it up, boys. And thank you so much, everybody, viewers, listeners, for listening to the JJ Sports podcast. If you actually are here this far, to quote the KD, you are the real MVPs. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Sammy, please remember to do what you have to do at the end of this, right? You know what
Yep.
to do. Okay.
Yep.
Have a good night, boys. See ya.
Good night, everybody. And we'll
Right.
see you later.